whether it was your wedding, the day your child was born, or maybe a graduation. There are just some days in your life that you won't be forgetting. Now, I've not experienced any of those things, but as a petrol head, I can safely say that today is going to be an unforgettable day for me. It's going to be a dream come true in many ways, because today I'm going to be spending my time with a Ferrari 488 GTB. As I've just said, the Ferrari we have here is a 488 GTB. The GTB part of the name stands for Gran Turismo Berlinetta, which is Italian for Gran Tourer with coupe styling. The name pays homage to the 308 GTB, which launched in the mid-70s and was the first mid-rear engined V8 Ferrari. Introduced in 2015, the 488 had the unenviable job of replacing the 458 Italia. Both in its styling and in the way in which it achieved its power, this car caused some controversy. Many armchair experts claim that the 458 is the better car. But simply coming from a petrolhead's perspective, let's see what I thought of this 488. Now, I've never spent time with a Ferrari before, and I don't really know where to start this video, if I'm honest with you. It's just a bit overwhelming how amazing this thing looks in the flesh. If you've never spent time with one, I beg you to go and find one and just have a look at it. Honestly, the details are amazing and everything just looks so right on it. Something that high asking price makes a lot of sense. Even things down to the indicator being there and just the way that's made, it just looks right. It's amazing. My sort of personal highlight, might sound a bit stupid, are the Brembo Calipers. I love the scripting on them, and again the colour, I think that's probably an option, but they just look right. It just looks perfect, and it's something you don't really get across in video or in pictures, or certainly I've never quite understood the craftsmanship involved in one of these cars. Now, this car in particular, the owner spec'd it from new. He didn't want red. I think that's fair enough. So I'm probably going to murder this pronunciation, but I believe this is Grigio Titanio. I'll write it on the video so you can correct me, with a black roof. Now, he went for that because, like I say, he didn't want red, but also this is the colour scheme that Ferrari were putting in their magazines at the time, and I think that's a good reason to choose this colour, to be honest. He also didn't want to overdo it on the carbon, so this has got about 70% of the carbon options, I think. So you've got a nice helping on the bottom of the front bumper, and then around the back you've also got some nice carbon bits. Outside, I think this is a real work of art, and like I say, you don't really appreciate it until you see one in person. Hopefully my video skills are good enough for me to get the idea across. So I just thought I'd bring the camera around here to demonstrate what makes supercars and cars like this so special. You don't appreciate it in photos, but look at this shape. This isn't something you'd find on, you know, a run-of-the-mill Ford Focus, for example. It just looks spectacular on the road, and you can see why it's worth so much money, because it's just artistry what they've done with this. Even things down to the rear lights. I know it's only a rear light, but that just looks perfect. Badges, again, they look $1 million, probably cost $1 million. And in there, it's got the carbon fibre engine bay with the red sort of covers on it, and even the oil filler thing. Again, probably worth £1 million, but it just looks like it's worth the money. It's honestly spectacular. You've also obviously got the aero on this car, so there's the vents, that then jets through. Actually, I think that might be for the radiators, but you've got your exit there, there's another hole there. Everything about it is done with a purpose, and I'm falling in love with this car the more I stand near it. Can't quite believe this is happening, but at the moment I'm sat inside a Ferrari. It's just a Tuesday morning. I wasn't expecting this to happen, and I have to pinch myself. What an amazing place to be. Again, it's all in the details, and it's stuff that doesn't really come across on video. Everything is so tactile. You know, you've got this amazing steering wheel that just feels perfect in the hand. You've got the beautiful tactile Manettino that just, it flicks with perfection. You've got these beautiful big paddles made of carbon fibre. Again, perfect. But then you've got this beautiful Ferrari logo, analog dial in yellow and straight ahead of you, 2 screens either side. That's in carbon, that's in carbon, that's carbon, that's carbon, that's carbon, sills are carbon, seats are carbon. Carbon everywhere. Like I said, he said about 70% he's gone on the options, but to me it seems about the perfect amount. It's not overdone, but it is nice. You've also got a display there for the passenger. I'll try and get a video of that when we're taking it out, fingers crossed. These seats are the carbon back seats, so they're a spectacular work of art, as is the whole car, as you've probably guessed by now. And these seats, he's told me something interesting about these. So these are manual seats, so I have to pull a lever there and I can move it. And he said if you wanted them to be electric, it'd have been £2,500. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I can see why he went for the manual option. So sat here, what have we got? We're nice and low. Seats are supportive. You sit in the car. You've got a very low window line, so I can see the 2 front arches, so you can sort of place the car, I imagine, quite well on the road. Out the back, you can see the window, out the rear view mirror, sorry. You can see part of the engine, but again, there's some visibility there. You've got a beautiful shaped wing mirror. Again, you can see some of the car, but I imagine on the road, visibility seems good enough to me that you'll be able to place this thing just where you want it. But it's the details, it's the way it all feels in the hand. That's what doesn't come across on video, and I wish it could. It is an amazing thing to be in and hold and touch. Even the start button, you run your finger over it and you can feel the engine stop. It slightly stands out, and it just feels amazing. Even down to the hazard switch, hazard lights. Everything in here is just done to perfection. You know, I'm very happy today, as you can probably tell. What a thing. Already I'm in love with the sound.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Crazy, isn't it?
It's almost like we've got about 50 metres and I'm already smiling like a mad. Now, filming these test drive bits is always tricky, and ultimately I can't do this car justice. I figured that a voiceover would make more sense than some random ramblings from the passenger seat. But anyway, what about some performance figures? Well, whilst the 488 may have lost 0.6 litres worth of cubic capacity compared to its predecessor, the addition of 2 twin-scroll turbochargers means it's not short on power. The 3.9 litre V8 engine produces a whopping 660 brake horsepower and 561 foot-pounds of torque. This means that 0 to 60 takes just 3 seconds, and the top speed is 205 miles an hour. Interestingly, you don't get the full 561 foot-pounds of torque until you're in 7th gear. Ferrari have limited it below that to help the 488 sound as pure as possible. Presumably, it also helps on the drivability front too. Yeah, it doesn't sound bad, does it? As you can probably tell, you get a lovely bellow from that V8 under light loads. You also get a fair share of turbo noises inside the cabin too, although my microphone seems to have failed at picking those up. Two things become immediately obvious when you're out in this car. Firstly, you can tell that it's got an absolute stable load of power. Even with just part throttle, it just piled on the speed like you wouldn't believe it, and the fact it's in 7th gear at 30 miles an hour just goes to show how much torque that engine has. Secondly was just how planted it felt. Even from the passenger seat, it felt like you'd have to be driving like an absolute lunatic to get it unstuck. Yet despite feeling so tied down, there's also a surprising level of comfort when just cruising about. Anyway, back to me for a quick summary. Well, I think it goes without saying that today has been an amazing day for me. As a petrol head, spending time with a Ferrari is, like I said at the start, a bit of a dream come true. I'm hoping in this video I've managed to do the car justice. It's truly a spectacular piece of machinery, and it is a bit of a work of art. I've been Blee, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.